Fellow cardboarders, welcome back. Fans of the Dandan format, as well as vintage and commander players rejoice. We have a whole bunch of letters here waiting to be opened. Don't worry, I thought of a way to skip through all the opening, so it's time for another installment of Cardboard Haul. So with the power of editing, I will just snap my fingers and all the letters will be opened on screen. There will be a full Dandan deck waiting for us. I think only one letter is missing, but I think I have the cards here to have the deck playable, as well as some EDH cards, as well as some investments and vintage cards. So let's get into it. So guys, we are back. I opened all the letters. I sorted them into the cards into piles, so you can skip if you want and can look at the certain sections if you want. Otherwise, just sit back and relax and enjoy some cardboard from the different eras of Magic. What we have here is a whole bunch of bulk. There are some interesting cards which I want to go over for like EDH and stuff. We have some set cube cards here for future set cubes and set cubes I am building right now. We're having a little pile of EDH cards and some investments here. And lastly, the red Dandan deck, which is the focus of this video. So let's quickly go through the bulk here. We have the temple from the Fallen Empire set here, which I wanted actually to buy in German, and I guess I forgot, since my dad doesn't have those in his deck, and I bought them in English again. So I guess I'm gonna have to order that again with my next order. So let's look what else we had here. Let's quickly glance over that. Bought some Shadowmoor cards, and cards like from the Lorwyn era, since I didn't have many and I just wanted to get some for my fat packs, my bundles. Skip. Right, I bought some Fallen Empires and Ice Age cards and cards from the older era, since I haven't played at that time. Ooh, some bonus rares. And I just wanted to have some if I ever build the set cube from like Alliances or like Ice Age or you name it. I want to have like the commons and uncommons already, or most of them, and I just paid like 2 cents each for each card. If you haven't voted already, I just got these two for the commander vote. If this one gets the most votes, we have the commanders here. Since I didn't have those, do check it out. If you haven't already, do give it a vote. And then I bought a whole bunch of more Fallen Empires cards. This card is what I wanted to talk about as well. So there are different artworks of Night Soil. I think it's only those 3, maybe there is a 4th one here. And this one is a really interesting enchantment. For 2 green, you can remove 2 creature cards from any graveyard, so it doesn't even have to be your own, and you get a 1/1 sapling. So in any token decks this would be interesting, but also the option to have like a recurring graveyard removal as an enchantment just for 1 mana is so useful. So you have your Scavenging Ooze and you have Night Soil, so I think this is like a lesser known card. What else do we have here? Anything I wanted to talk about? What I just wanted to mention is that you can get like Fallen Empires cards and cards from this era so cheap. So if you are considering just owning some of these old cards from the sets that are lesser liked in the Magic the Gathering player base, maybe just get them out of the way, have them in your collection, and if you ever need them, cards like Night Soil, then you have them. And I didn't pay anything for them, like 2 cents or 3 cents each. Now, if we are already at the vintage cards, let's look at some nice unlimited cards, and I think there are some from Legends as well. We got the Phantasmal Terrain, and I found it very interesting that these look so different. So this one, for example, is very dark. This one seems to be kind of in the middle. And then we have a very light printing of this. So maybe if there's someone on the channel watching this video right now, knowing if this is like a common thing, that there are two very distinct darker printings, one darker and one lighter printing of either this card or just generally unlimited cards. That would be really interesting, because the backside in my eyes looks normal. So that was interesting. Got some Hill Giant, some War Mammoth. This one I put upside down because it's from a revised. You can notice revised cards with the alignment, but also the lighter printing of this card. When you compare it even to the lightest of the terrains, you see quite a saturation difference. And also the alignment of the artist name, which is in the middle, compared to revised, which is rather to the bottom. Got some circle, a Spidey, a wall, and another giant. I got this Portal 3 Kingdoms forest quite cheap, so I wanted to get that out of the way, since these already approach a couple of bucks already. Like, I think I paid like $4 or so, and the seller had one, and a Venerian Gold. I think this is the last one from Legends so that I have enough for my set cube. Now, I do like those demonstrate cards onto the EDH and Commander cards. I do like the demonstrate cards, which let you and an opponent of your choosing copy this spell, and then you're allowed to also just use the normal card you just cast, and then you may destroy, together with an opponent, up to 3 permanents on the battlefield. And the owner of those cards creates treasure tokens. Okay, so I got this one twice, since I just find it very useful and playable. Got the Historian Boon. This one I got for my Saga Traxa deck. If you haven't checked it out yet, do check this video out after this video. But also with the new Lord of the Rings cards, this card will probably gain some popularity as well. So I got this one twice. I bought another Farewell. I think I have 4 or 5 now. This card is just eternally playable. If you haven't at least one copy, maybe you should get it out of the way. And then we have a quite expensive reserved list card, a Deranged Hermit in foil, which I got for quite cheap, though it is damaged if you take a closer look here. It has like some, I don't know, indents kind of, or even like a bend here, but it was relatively cheap, and I'm playing this in my pre-modern Elves deck, Commander, and if I can get the foil one, the spicy foil one, which you will not notice in sleeves that it is really like, well, kind of damaged. It looks really nice, like from a distance, and I do like it. And we have that out of the way, and we can put that into the Elves deck. Now, to the speculations, before we look at the pretty much finished red Dandan variant deck which I built. With the new Lord of the Rings set, Orcs have gotten some more love, and I wanted to get a couple of Orc Generals. I told the channel that this card was on the move. This card kind of settled back down, so it really didn't move much, but I still think it is a cheap investment. If Orcs ever get more support and it becomes a better playable tribe, this Orc General will get better with every Orc that is printed and playable. So this one taps, sacrifices an Orc or Goblin, and gives all Orcs +1/+1. I have the Dark set cube, and this card is really weird since this only pushes Orcs, gives them +1/+1, and there's only this Orc General in this set. The rest of the Goblins are not Orcs, so this one is a weird pick to use to pick when you are playing the Dark set cube and drafting it. But yeah, I got, I think, several. Let's see, we have like 8, like 10, 12 of these, and I will put them aside. I paid like, I don't know, $2, maybe $3 each. And if this ever goes up to like $10, I'll be glad that I got some out of the way. maybe you should get yourself a playset as well. Let me know in the comments if you also think that this is a interesting and nice card. And then we have the second investment for today, which is this curse here with the new Spider Commander Shelob, which enjoys Spideys. We can curse our opponent, and whenever a non-token creature dies of the enchanted player, we exile it and create a 1/2 spider with reach. And I got several of these. We have like another 13 copies of this just to get it out of the way. I paid like 10 cents each. This card also moved up a little, or kind of like got bought out on card market a little. Not like really bought out, but if the Spider Commanders, similar to the Orc Commanders, ever get more and more love, cards like these will at some point just be broken, and it's nice to have those around before they spike up. Now let's put those aside. So we are back. My camera storage was full and I talked for nothing. Luckily only like 2 or 3 minutes got lost. Right. So where were we? We wanted to talk about the red Dandan deck.
Dun 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 dun.
The red variant of the Dandan deck. There are a couple of cards missing, I've noticed, but the deck list is in the description if you want to look at the full deck list. I think it's like 6 or 7 cards that are missing, but I actually own them, so it's just the amount that is missing. So without further ado, let's look at the card that the red variant will be based on. It is the Yoshia Declares War. It's an enchantment for 1 and a red. It has read ahead, so you can skip the saga to any point you want and put as many lore counters on it. So at level 1, it creates a 0/2 colorless flying Thopter artifact creature. At number 2, you can tap any number of artifacts to deal an equal amount of damage to the amount of you tapped to a creature or planeswalker. The latter will not be that relevant since we're not playing any planeswalkers. And lastly, this is where the 4/4 creature comes into play, since this allows you to turn any artifact into a 4/4 creature. So you either turn your 0/2 Thopter into a creature, or we're playing a couple of other enchantments. And keep in mind, there are also artifact lands. You can actually also turn your lands into 4/4 creatures. And this is where I want to experiment a little. Let me know in the comments if you found this deck interesting, what your thoughts are on this. Let's put the card here. We are playing 10 copies of this. Here we are. We are playing Smash as our first removal. For 3 mana, it's an instant. You destroy an artifact and draw a card. This one we play twice. So if you're gonna get attacked, or your opponent has an important artifact or artifact land you want to get rid of, instant speed, just get it removed, get it out of the way. Similarly, Molten Frame, for 2 mana, it destroys an artifact creature in this case. So only artifacts that are turned into 4/4s or the Thopters can be destroyed. If you don't find anything useful, you can just cycle it to switch it out for the card on top of the library. Since we are playing some important artifact lands, we want to have some land destruction. We're playing 2 Rubble Reading here, and this also allows us to scry 2 to have some top deck manipulation. We're playing Wild Magic Surge to destroy any permanent of an opponent, and then the opponent reveals card from the top of the library until a card with the same type is revealed, and puts that onto the battlefield. We are playing as a counterspell Tybalt's Trickery. This is where 5 of the copies are missing. This one I just love because it just creates so much chaos, which is so red, and I want to try it out. So this is the first time with my variants that this counterspell doesn't counter the card back to the top of the library, but rather we're getting something random, something new out of the deck instead of the card we just countered. We're playing 8 copies of this, so keep in mind this row would be further along. I'm still waiting for the order. We're playing 2 Chaos Warp. I just loved the artwork, the silliness of this artwork. Another way to remove any permanent and getting a random card from the top of the library. We are playing Seize the Spoils. This one is also missing one, so we're playing 4 of this one. We're discarding a card as an additional cost and drawing 2 cards and creating 1 treasure token. And this treasure token can at some point actually attack if we have the Declares War card here to turn it into a 4/4. By the way, maybe we want to agree on calling this deck Beauty Yoti. If we're having Dandan and Yotun, maybe we want to call it that. We're having Gamble. I also left this artwork here and the chaos of Gamble. So we're going to be able to tutor for any card. I'm playing Mystical Tutor in my blue one. I want to play the red tutor here for more chaos, but also a way to actually get a card you might want to have with the price of, well, maybe dropping it in the same instance. Now, by the way, if we are at Chaos, we are playing 4 cards, which I'm experimenting with. One of them is Possibility Storm. You can pause the video and just read ahead, but just know that this card just creates so much chaos, and I just love it. It's fun in EDH, and I like the idea of the players being able to play one of the 4 cards, or maybe even all of the 4 for maximum chaos, but they're always able to choose if they want to play it or not at a certain point in the game. Each card is only once in the deck, so we have also Confusion in the ranks, which you can also read if you want, but it exchanges control of cards with the same type when they enter. We have the Fierce Puzzle Box, which resets the hand every turn for the respective player. Also very interesting and makes the game very confusing and very chaotic. And we have Wild Evocation, which probably will be the artwork for the sleeves and the playmat, but we'll see about that. First, I'm going to try this deck out a couple of times and see how it plays before I'm ordering a playmat or sleeves. We're having Howling Mine in this deck just to be sure that we're all drawing enough cards, and also being able to slap your opponent's face with it if you want to turn it into a 4/4. Let's put this here to make this row 10 again. Remember, 1 Seize the Spoils is missing. We are playing Reforge the Soul to just have a hard reset and also being able to miracle it. Very nice. Fists of Anvil I found very interesting to just kill an opponent or surprise someone, but also to just deal a double amount of damage. So we're still keeping the 4 steps here, and this one just deals double as much damage. I included it twice in here. And maybe you're wondering, well, the Yosha will die after step 3, since it's completed its lore counters. It's 3 or more counters. That's when you have to sacrifice it. With Skull of Orm, which you can also animate and turn into a 4/4, you can actually bring an enchantment back into your hand. So the Yosha declares war either, or maybe some of the chaos enchantments your opponent may be discarded but you want to play. And we're playing this twice. We have enough, I think, artifact removal and permanent removal to get rid of them also, but maybe it will also stick around and enable the players to retrieve some of the enchantments. And 5 mana is quite a steep cost, so this one will probably be late game when players want to try to get them out of the graveyard again. We have the Archive here, which will reset the whole graveyard. Also really interesting, instant speed, and draws you a card. Now we are at the lands. We're playing 32 lands again. So these are our 48 cards here. And now we are playing Great Furnace, obviously, as an artifact land, being able to turn it into a 4/4. Very useful, very nice red mana, but also able to be destroyed. We're playing 10 of these, and there's one missing. I don't know which order it was where it was missing, but I will look into that, because I am pretty sure that I ordered 10 and one is missing. Then obviously we are having the Darksteel Citadel twice in this deck. It's indestructible, but also only creates colorless mana. And I wanted to try it out, how it works. You can get rid of it with Chaos Warp, so I was not too worried about it that it is too strong, but we'll see. Maybe I'll have to switch it out for normal mountains if I realize it is too strong. We have the Dwarven Ruins, which is the equivalent of the Blue Temple in the normal Dandan deck. We are playing the 2 different cycling lands, 2 of each, either 1 red to cycle it or 2 colorless to cycle it, and they enter the battlefield tapped if you play them as lands. And then we're playing some snow-covered mountains. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I think that should be all. Maybe you're wondering why snow-covered. There's only one land that actually makes use of that, which is the Mouth here, which taps for 4 and a snow-covered to deal 4 damage to target creature. And now we're also able to sacrifice the land to actually get rid of a attacker. And I found that interesting to include, and I just left the little drake here and the snowy land of the mountain, and I wanted to include that. And then lastly we have the Roadside Reliquary, which adds colorless mana to our mana pool, or you can sacrifice it and draw a card if you control an artifact, and you also draw a card if you control an enchantment. And since we are playing artifacts and enchantments, we're able to draw 2 cards out of this card at some point, and I found that really nice to include. And also I think it's an underplayed or unknown card in Commander. But now I do want to hear from you guys. Did you enjoy this insight into my red Dandan deck? Do you have any suggestions for changing something? I hope to receive the missing cards very soon so I can try this deck out and let you know how it worked. I will update the deck list if I change anything, if I splash a different color in. By the way, there is a Discord for all the fans of Dandan if you want to join it. The link is also in the description. One of our subscribers, I think, shared this link with me, so thank you for that. Join in and see all the different inspiration from all the different Dandan players. I think it's 400 people or more even in this group. I wish you a beautiful day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Dandan deck, let me know in the comments if you found this deck interesting, what your thoughts. Instant speed, just get removed. To have some top deck manipulation, we're playing mine, and I like the idea of the players being able one of and see how it plays before I'm ordering a map. And then lastly we have the Roadside Reliquary, which adds colorless mana to our mana pool.